Why Most People Never Reach Their Potential by AI Audiobooks Empire. Introduction. Potential is one of the most powerful words in human existence. It represents the untapped greatness within us, the unseen capacity to achieve more than we currently believe possible. Yet, despite this immense reservoir of possibility, most people never reach their potential. They settle for comfort, distraction, and mediocrity, leaving behind dreams that could have transformed their lives and the lives of others. This audiobook explores the reasons why so many fail to rise to their true capacity and, more importantly, how you can avoid becoming one of them. Potential is like a seed buried deep within the soil of our lives. Every person carries it, but not every person nurtures it. Some allow it to remain dormant, never watered by effort or sunlight of discipline. Others begin the process, but abandon it when storms of adversity arrive. The tragedy is not that people lack potential. It is that they fail to cultivate it. The world is filled with abandoned seeds of greatness, ideas never pursued, talents never sharpened, and opportunities never seized. Think of the countless individuals who once dreamed of writing a book, starting a business, mastering a skill, or leading with influence. Their dreams were real, their potential undeniable. Yet they allowed fear, excuses, or comfort to silence their pursuit. Life has a way of testing whether we truly value our potential. It asks us to sacrifice, to endure, to persist when results are slow. Those who shrink back never discover what they could have been. Those who press forward, however, uncover a life of meaning, impact, and fulfillment. This audiobook is not about talent alone, nor is it about luck or opportunity. It is about choices, the daily decisions that either move us closer to our potential or further away from it. It is about the principles that govern growth, the disciplines that sustain progress, and the mindset that refuses to settle for mediocrity. As you listen, you will be challenged to examine your own life, to confront the habits and beliefs that may be holding you back, and to embrace the uncomfortable but necessary path toward becoming the fullest version of yourself. If you are here listening, welcome to AI Audiobooks Empire. This channel is dedicated to bringing you stories, principles, and wisdom that uplift, empower, and transform lives. Every narration is crafted to inspire discipline, resilience, and intentional living, values that guide us toward becoming the best version of ourselves. Now, let us begin our journey into why most people never reach their potential. Chapter 1. The Trap of Comfort. Comfort is seductive. It whispers promises of safety, ease, and predictability. Yet, the very thing that feels secure often becomes the invisible prison that keeps people from growth. Potential requires discomfort, because growth is born in challenge, not in ease. Comfort convinces us that tomorrow will be the right time, that risk is unnecessary, and that staying where we are is good enough. But tomorrow rarely comes, and the longer we remain in comfort, the weaker our hunger for progress becomes. Real life shows us countless examples. People who had dreams but chose the couch, the easy job, or the familiar routine. They avoided risk, and in doing so, avoided greatness. Comfort is not evil, but when it becomes the default, it robs us of the hunger to push forward. Think of the athlete who stops training after achieving a small victory. The entrepreneur who refuses to expand because the current business feels safe. Or the student who avoids difficult subjects because they require effort. Each decision to stay comfortable creates a ceiling that limits growth. Over time, these ceilings stack up until a person is trapped beneath them, unable to rise to their true capacity. To break free, one must embrace discomfort as a teacher. The gym, the classroom, the business venture, all demand sacrifice. Those who reach their potential are not those who avoid pain, but those who see pain as the price of progress. Discomfort sharpens discipline, builds resilience, and reveals strength that comfort hides. The truth is simple. Comfort may give temporary pleasure, but discomfort gives lasting transformation. If you want to grow, you must be willing to sweat, to struggle, and to stretch beyond what feels easy. Comfort will always tempt you to settle, but greatness belongs only to those who dare to step outside its walls. Chapter 2. Fear of Failure. Fear is the silent killer of dreams. Many people never attempt to pursue their potential because they are terrified of failing. They imagine ridicule, disappointment, or wasted effort, and so they never begin. Fear builds invisible walls around possibility, convincing us that safety lies in inaction. Yet, the truth is that inaction is the greatest risk of all, because it guarantees regret. The fear of failure does not protect us. It paralyzes us, leaving us with unfulfilled potential and a life half-lived. In reality, failure is not the opposite of success. It is the pathway to it. Every great inventor, leader, or athlete has failed more times than they succeeded. Thomas Edison famously remarked that he did not fail thousands of times when creating the light bulb. He simply discovered thousands of ways that did not work. Michael Jordan missed more shots than he made, yet his persistence made him legendary. The difference between those who succeed and those who stagnate is not the absence of failure, but the willingness to endure it. Failure is feedback, a teacher that refines skill, strengthens resilience, and sharpens wisdom. Those who never reach their potential are those who let fear dictate their choices. They avoid risks, silence their ambitions, and settle for mediocrity. Courage, however, is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act despite it. Courage says, "I may fail, but I will learn. I may stumble, but I will rise." It transforms fear into fuel, turning hesitation into momentum. The courageous do not wait for perfect conditions. They step forward even when uncertainty looms. In the end, the measure of a life is not how often one avoided failure, but how boldly one pursued growth in spite of it. Chapter 3. Lack of discipline. Discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement. Without it, even the most ambitious dreams collapse under the weight of inconsistency. It is the silent force that transforms vision into reality, the daily choice to act when emotions would rather retreat. Discipline is not glamorous. It rarely feels exciting, but it is the foundation upon which every lasting success is built. Without discipline, talent fades, opportunities slip away, and potential remains nothing more than a possibility never realized. Many people start strong, New Year's resolutions, fresh goals, exciting plans, but fade quickly when the initial motivation disappears. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the firewood that keeps the flame alive. When the excitement of a new beginning wears off, discipline is what carries you through the monotony of repetition. It is the reason athletes train when no one is watching. Entrepreneurs work late into the night, and students study long after fatigue sets in. Discipline is the quiet commitment to consistency, the refusal to let temporary feelings dictate permanent outcomes. Real-life success stories are built not on bursts of energy, but on daily habits. Those who reach their potential master discipline, while those who don't remain slaves to impulse. Discipline is the difference between the person who dreams of writing a book and the one who actually finishes it, between the person who talks about fitness and the one who shows up at the gym every day. It is the practice of choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. Discipline is not punishment. It is empowerment. It is the act of saying, I will not be ruled by laziness, distraction, or fear. I will be ruled by principle, by purpose, and by the vision of who I want to become. Chapter 4. Distractions and Noise. We live in the noisiest era in history. Social media, endless entertainment, and constant notifications steal attention from meaningful pursuits. The modern world is designed to capture your focus, not to cultivate it. Every ping, every alert, every flashing headline is engineered to pull you away from what truly matters. The tragedy is that most people surrender willingly, trading hours of deep work for moments of shallow amusement. In this constant storm of noise, potential is drowned before it ever has the chance to grow. Potential requires focus, but most people scatter their energy across trivialities. Hours are wasted scrolling through feeds, watching videos that add no value, or gossiping about matters that have no bearing on their future. Dreams collect dust, while distractions consume the best hours of the day. The mind, once capable of clarity and creativity, becomes fragmented, unable to sustain the deep concentration required for mastery. Real life shows us this pattern everywhere. Students who spend more time on their phones than on their studies. Professionals who check emails obsessively instead of building meaningful projects. And families who sit together yet remain isolated by screens. To reach potential, one must learn to silence the noise. Focus is the currency of achievement, and those who spend it wisely build lives of impact. This requires intentional boundaries, turning off notifications, carving out time for deep work, and resisting the lure of constant entertainment. It means choosing solitude over distraction, clarity over clutter, and purpose over passivity. The greatest achievements in history were not born in noisy environments, but in quiet spaces where minds could think deeply and act decisively. If you want to rise above mediocrity, you must reclaim your attention from the noise. For in the end, your focus determines your future, and the ability to guard it is the mark of those who reach their true potential. Chapter 5. The Influence of Environment. People are shaped by the environments they inhabit. Friends, family, and colleagues either push them forward or hold them back. The truth is that no one grows in isolation. We are constantly influenced by the voices, habits, and expectations of those around us. If you spend time with people who complain, you will learn to complain. If you surround yourself with people who strive, you will learn to strive. Environment is not neutral. It is either a ladder that lifts you higher or an anchor that drags you down. Many never reach their potential because they surround themselves with mediocrity. They absorb the habits, beliefs, and limitations of those around them. A person who dreams of greatness but spends every evening with friends who mock ambition will eventually shrink their vision. A student who wants excellence but studies in a group that prioritizes gossip over learning will soon lose focus. Mediocrity is contagious, and it spreads quietly, often disguised as normal life. Over time, it convinces people that settling is acceptable, that striving is unnecessary, and that potential is nothing more than a fantasy. To grow, one must intentionally choose environments that challenge and inspire. Greatness is contagious, but so is mediocrity. This means seeking mentors who demand more of you, peers who encourage discipline, and communities that celebrate growth. It means leaving behind toxic circles, even when it feels uncomfortable, and stepping into spaces where excellence is the standard. Real transformation happens when your environment forces you to rise, when the people around you remind you daily that you are capable of more. If you want to reach your potential, you must guard your environment as carefully as you guard your time. For in the end, the company you keep will either sharpen your vision or slowly erode it. Chapter 6. The Myth of Motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It comes in bursts, often triggered by emotion or inspiration, but it rarely lasts. It is like a spark that lights up the night for a moment, only to fade into darkness. People often wait for motivation to arrive before they act, believing that progress depends on feeling inspired. But this belief is a trap. If you wait for motivation, you will wait forever. Motivation is unreliable, inconsistent, and conditional. It cannot be trusted to carry you through the long journey of growth. Those who depend on motivation never reach their potential because they stop when the feeling fades. They begin with excitement, but when the thrill disappears, so does their effort. This is why gyms are full in January but empty by March. Why new projects start with energy but end in silence. And why dreams remain unfinished. Motivation is emotional, and emotions shift like the wind. If your progress depends on how you feel, you will never build anything lasting. Real achievement requires something deeper, something stronger than fleeting inspiration. The truth is that principles, not motivation, sustain progress. Discipline, vision, and values are stronger than emotions. Discipline says, I will act, whether I feel like it or not. Vision says, I know where I am going, even when the path feels unclear. Values say, I will stay true to what matters, even when it costs me comfort. These are the anchors that hold you steady when motivation disappears. The people who reach their potential are not those who wait for inspiration, but those who live by principle. They understand that motivation may start the journey, but discipline and values finish it. If you want to rise above mediocrity, stop chasing motivation and start building a life grounded in principles that endure. Chapter 7. The Weight of excuses. Excuses are the language of the unfulfilled. They justify stagnation, disguise fear, and rationalize mediocrity. Every excuse may sound reasonable in the moment, but collectively, they form the heavy chains that bind a person to a life far below their potential. Excuses are comforting because they shift responsibility away from the individual onto circumstances, onto other people, onto fate. Yet, this comfort is deceptive. It is the comfort of surrender, the quiet acceptance of defeat before the battle has even begun. I don't have time. I don't have resources. I'm not ready. These are the chains that bind potential. Excuses are comforting because they shift responsibility away from the individual onto circumstances, onto other people, onto fate. Yet, this comfort is deceptive. It is the comfort of surrender, the quiet acceptance of defeat before the battle has even begun. I don't have time. I don't have resources. I'm not ready. These are the chains that bind potential. History is filled with examples of people who achieved greatness despite overwhelming odds. Leaders who rose from poverty, inventors who worked with limited tools, and visionaries who began with nothing but determination. Their refusal to accept excuses is what set them apart. Those who reach their potential refuse excuses. They find a way, even when circumstances are against them. They understand that excuses are simply stories we tell ourselves to justify inaction. Instead of saying, I can't, they ask, how can I? Instead of waiting for perfect timing, they create opportunities in imperfect moments. Excuses weigh down the average person, but responsibility lifts the extraordinary one. The truth is simple. Excuses will always be available, but so will solutions. The difference lies in which one you choose to embrace. If you want to rise above mediocrity, you must drop the weight of excuses and carry instead the burden of responsibility. For it is responsibility that unlocks the door to your true potential. Chapter Ba. Misunderstanding success. Many people equate success with external rewards, money, fame, or recognition. This misunderstanding leads them astray. They chase applause, believing that validation from others is proof of achievement. Yet, external success is fragile. It depends on circumstances, opinions, and fleeting trends. When the applause fades, so does the sense of worth. Excuses are comforting because they shift responsibility away from the individual onto circumstances, onto other people, onto fate. Yet, this comfort is deceptive. It is the comfort of surrender, the quiet acceptance of defeat before the battle has even begun. I don't have time. I don't have resources. I'm not ready. These are the chains that bind potential. Success is not measured by how many people know your name, but by how deeply you live your values and how faithfully you pursue your vision. A teacher who shapes lives quietly in a classroom may never be famous, but their success is profound. A parent who raises children with love and discipline may never be celebrated publicly, but their impact is immeasurable. Real success is internal. It is the alignment of who you are with who you are meant to be. Those who chase shallow success often burn out, while those who pursue growth and contribution reach deeper fulfillment. Shallow success demands constant performance, endless comparison, and relentless striving for approval. It drains energy and breeds insecurity. But authentic success rooted in purpose, creates peace, resilience, and joy. It allows you to endure hardship because your work is meaningful. It gives you strength to resist distractions because your path is clear. The misunderstanding of success is one of the greatest reasons people never reach their potential. They chase what glitters instead of what matters. To truly succeed, you must redefine success, not as applause, but as impact, not as recognition, but as transformation, not as wealth, but as wisdom lived out in daily choices. Chapter 9. Lack of vision. Vision is the compass of potential. Without it, people wander aimlessly, chasing short-term pleasures instead of long-term purpose. Vision is what gives direction to effort, clarity to sacrifice, and meaning to persistence. It is the picture of the future that guides decisions in the present. Without vision, even hard work can become wasted energy, because effort without direction leads nowhere. Most people never reach their potential because they never define what it looks like. They live reactively, responding to circumstances instead of shaping them. Their days are filled with activity, but not progress. It allows you to endure hardship because you know what you are working toward. It helps you resist temptation because you see beyond the moment. Vision is the anchor that steadies you when storms come, the compass that points you forward when distractions surround you, and the light that shines in the distance when the path feels dark. Those who reach their potential are not necessarily the most talented or the most fortunate. They are the ones who live with vision. They see the future before it arrives, and they align their daily actions with that future until it becomes reality. Chapter 10. Resistance to change. Change is uncomfortable, but it is the essence of growth. Those who resist change remain stuck in old patterns, clinging to what feels familiar, even when it no longer serves them. The human mind often equates familiarity with safety, but safety without progress becomes stagnation. Potential requires transformation, new skills, new mindsets, new habits. Excuses are comforting because they shift responsibility away from the individual onto circumstances, onto other people, onto fate. Yet, this comfort is deceptive. It is the comfort of surrender, the quiet acceptance of defeat before the battle has even begun. I don't have time. I don't have resources. I'm not ready. These are the chains that bind potential. They tell themselves, this is good enough, and avoid the discomfort of learning something new or stepping into unfamiliar territory. Yet, every breakthrough in history has come from someone willing to embrace change. The entrepreneur who adapts to new markets, the student who learns beyond the curriculum, the leader who reinvents their approach, all prove that change is not the enemy, but the doorway to advancement. Those who embrace change, even when painful, unlock doors that others never see. Change stretches the mind, strengthens resilience, and reveals possibilities hidden from those who remain rigid. It teaches humility because it forces us to admit that what worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. It demands courage because it asks us to step into uncertainty without guarantees. But it also rewards us with growth, wisdom, and opportunity. The truth is simple. Resistance to change guarantees decline, while acceptance of change guarantees evolution. If you want to reach your potential, you must stop fearing change and start seeing it as the very process that shapes you into the person capable of achieving greatness. Chapter 11. Neglecting Health and Energy. Potential is not just mental, it is physical. Without health, energy, and vitality, even the sharpest mind cannot sustain achievement. The body is the vessel through which dreams are pursued, and, when it is neglected, even the greatest ambitions collapse. Success demands stamina, clarity, and resilience, all of which are rooted in physical well-being. Yet, many people treat their health as optional, believing they can sacrifice sleep, skip exercise, or ignore nutrition without consequence. In reality, neglecting the body is neglecting the very foundation of potential. Many people neglect their bodies, sacrificing sleep, nutrition, and exercise. They trade rest for late-night distractions, trade wholesome food for convenience, and trade movement for sedentary comfort. At first, the consequences seem small: fatigue, irritability, lack of focus. But over time, these choices erode performance, weaken resilience, and shorten the capacity to endure. The entrepreneur who burns out, the student who cannot concentrate, the leader who loses vitality, all are victims of neglected health. The body keeps score, and eventually, it demands payment for every compromise made. Those who reach their potential treat their body as an instrument of greatness, fueling it for the long journey ahead. They understand that sleep is not wasted time, but a strategic investment. That exercise is not punishment, but preparation. And that nutrition is not restriction, but empowerment. They guard their energy as carefully as they guard their time, knowing that tired hours are wasted hours. Health is discipline in physical form, and those who honor it unlock strength, clarity, and endurance. To rise to your potential, you must care for the body that carries you there. For without energy, even the brightest vision will remain unrealized. Chapter 12. Settling for good enough. The greatest enemy of potential is not failure, but settling. Many people stop at good enough, never pushing toward excellence. They achieve something, but not what they could have. They reach a level of comfort, a modest success, and convince themselves that it is sufficient. Yet, deep inside, they know they have compromised. Settling is the quiet surrender of greatness, the decision to stop climbing when the summit is still ahead. Comfort with mediocrity creates lives of quiet regret. People look back and realize they did not fail. They simply stopped too soon. They had the talent, the opportunity, and the vision, but they chose convenience over challenge. Good enough becomes the silent thief of destiny, robbing individuals of the extraordinary life they were capable of living. It is not the loud crash of defeat that destroys potential, but the soft whisper of compromise that says, "This is fine. Stop here." Those who refuse to settle, who demand more of themselves, are the ones who reach their true potential. They understand that excellence is not about perfection, but about refusing to accept mediocrity. They push beyond comfort, beyond the applause of others, and beyond the easy victories. They live with a relentless pursuit of growth, always asking, "What more can I become? What more can I give?" This refusal to settle transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary legacies. The truth is simple. Greatness is never found in good enough. It is found in the relentless pursuit of better, in the courage to keep climbing when others have stopped, and in the determination to live a life that reflects the fullness of one's potential. Closing summary. Potential is a gift, but it is also a responsibility. Every person is born with seeds of greatness, yet not everyone chooses to nurture them. Most people never reach their potential because they choose comfort, fear, distraction, and excuses. They settle for what is easy instead of what is possible. But potential is not meant to remain dormant. It is meant to be cultivated, stretched, and lived out fully. The path to fulfillment is clear. Embrace discomfort, master discipline, silence distractions, and pursue vision with relentless focus. Discomfort will shape your strength. Discipline will carry you when motivation fades. Focus will protect your energy from the noise of the world. Vision will remind you why the struggle is worth it. Together, these principles form the foundation of a life that rises above mediocrity. Life is too short to settle for good enough. Regret is the price of wasted potential, and it is far heavier than the pain of effort. Your potential is waiting. Whether you reach it depends on the choices you make today. Every decision either moves you closer to the person you were meant to become or further away from it. The question is not whether you have potential. You do. The question is whether you will rise to meet it. The truth is simple. Greatness is not reserved for a select few. It belongs to those who refuse excuses, who embrace growth, and who live with intention. Your life is a canvas, and potential is the paint. What masterpiece you create depends on the courage to act, the discipline to persist, and the vision to see beyond the present moment. Do not waste the gift. Step forward boldly, for your future self is waiting, and the world is in need of the greatness only you can bring. Thank you for watching and listening to this audiobook. I am truly grateful for your time, your attention, and your willingness to walk through these principles with me. Persistence is not about perfection. It is about continuation. It is the daily choice to rise again, the quiet decision to keep moving forward, and the courageous act of refusing to quit. Wisdom only becomes powerful when it is lived out, when it moves beyond words and becomes action. The end.